All right, thanks everyone for checking out my latest video. I always appreciate you taking the time to do so. And in this lesson, I'm hoping to show you just how easy it is to be able to navigate the major pentatonic um, based on chords, based on seeing the chords on the fretboard and then seeing the note interval. We're going to keep it kind of simple, but kind of the beauty of, I think, of the major pentatonic is its simplicity, and you can make some pretty nice soloing and riffing, without any real complexity. So when you look at this, I hope that you see familiar looking chords, right? And this would be perhaps an attractive approach to learning major pentatonic. But what if instead someone showed you this and said, you got to learn all 5 boxes, all 5 major pentatonic boxes. Here is one position or one box you can see here. This is just a snapshot, or I should say a screenshot from a video I was watching the other day. I just wanted to get some perspective on the boxes. I have never learned all of the boxes. And honestly, when you look at this and you say, well, man, for me to get even decent at major pentatonic, I got to learn 1 and box 2 and box 3 and box 4 and box 5. And I got to do it. I got to understand how they all connect and how I can flow between them all, like horizontally and vertically and diagonally and all that. And this is just D major, so now you got to do that for all the boxes, for all the keys on the entire fretboard. I honestly think it's pretty overwhelming. So instead, we go back to this. Doesn't this look easier? And it really is. And we're doing it, hopefully you can see I kind of highlighted or put like a blue circle around the 5s and 1s. So we see pair of 5 and 1s here. We see a pair here, a pair up here, and here. And these are diagonal, rather than being stacked on each other. It's only because of the B string, strange tuning of the B string. So these chords should all be very familiar to everybody. They're just a normal open D. Now on the diagram, I'm showing a C-shaped D chord, which means we're going to put these 2 fingers down, but we don't have to worry too much about these for today, mostly just this little triad. And then you should be familiar with this D, called the A-shaped D, and it's basically the root is on the 5th string, right? And you can also play even this lower on the E string because it's still part of the chord. It's the 5 out of the chord. And if you've ever done that, you've noticed how heavy it makes that chord sound. Pretty cool, actually. But yeah, it's definitely part of that same, or can be part of that same chord. And then, of course, we have an E shape. We have an E shape. Everyone's familiar with that, and with that. And then, of course, that D, that little triad repeats up here, an octave higher on the fretboard. Okay, so we have these little pairs, like I called them. So when we think about this A-shaped D chord, and we look at this little box, again, right here, this 1 and 5, you can just hear that. Kind of sounds kind of a southern rockish or something, maybe a little country. And it's how I keep just resolving to the 1. That's the root. Now I traveled up. There's another 1. And look, it's another 5-1 pair right here. Is the ones I'm looking up. These are really simple lick sections. Let's do this again. Okay, so that's really cool, right? And then what you can do, let's move up again. See what I did there? Whoops. You do that again. And you can hear that's like waiting to go somewhere, right? Like that, another 5-1 pair right out of the D shape. So I moved from here up, and I've pointed out in one of my other videos, I'll link a couple of my previous videos below, but holding this D chord down like this, when we start riffing around this triad, it's a 5-1-3. We move our and put our index finger there. You see, so I moved up here to this piece of this, here's the whole E shape, but here's just this piece of it. That's a 3, that's a 5, and the 1. So let's do this. We're just holding down the 5 and the 1, and we're just going hammer on one fret above, which is the 6. So if you do it fast, and then up here too. So that's another thing you can do. Well, very cool. We just, again, we're doing the 6. That's a 5, 5-1. Keep that 1 down. We're fretting the 1 and the 5, and we hammer on this from the 5 to the 6. So, should have mentioned already, two things that you're going to want to know. If you don't already, you're going to want to learn. You see how I have all these numbers here. You're going to want to learn, you're going to want to know that in this triad, whether it's a D or this is an E triad, that's an F, that's a G. In that triad, no matter where it's at, it's a 5, 1, 3. And this triad, that's a D, but it could be a C, B, E, whatever it is, right there in that triad. That's a 5-1-3. And when you look at the whole chord, you want to be able to look at this and go, okay, I know that's the 1, that's a 5-1-3, and that's the 5. I'm up here on high E. So I know it's a 1, 5-1-3, 5. For this little triad, the D-shaped triad, I'm not worrying too much about the 4th string on that, and I'll show you why. But and then we have this E shape. No matter what it is, this is a D chord, right? Could be a B or an A or a G, doesn't matter, but we're in D. You want to know this is 1, 5, 1, 3, 5, 1. You may not ever learn all the notes of every single major scale. You might not ever learn all that, but if you learn these numbers, it's going to help you go a long way. And you'll just start learning the notes kind of as you go in your journey. So what we're going to do here now. So these 5-1 pairs, I kind of look at them like launching pads, or anchor points. That's kind of like an anchor point. Remember? And down on this triad, notice it sounds exactly like this. Because it is exactly the same thing, man. That sounds pretty cool. There's some different things you can do based on this triad than what you can do here, But so you got this 5-1. Same here. Same right there. But look at this on this E shape. Remember this? These two are the 5 and the 1. Okay, that's up on the 12th fret. And look how all of a sudden, so I went from this E shape, I took the 5 and the 1 as my launching pad or my anchor, that little riff, and now I'm actually in the triad. Notice I tend to uh, fret those strings whenever I'm playing instead of this because it's using too many fingers. I need other fingers to do riffs with, like that. So, but yeah, I'm gonna do this again. And right there, I am literally holding down that D triad. Same D triad as here, but it's up here, and I'm holding it like this. Cool riff right there, right? Okay, so let's see. We anchor off these guys. So now the boxes. Someone's probably saying, why am I being so mean about the boxes? I'm not. And if you're someone who has learned all the boxes and you can fluently, you know, uh, solo and move horizontally and vertically and through all of that, that's awesome, man. I mean, I'm never gonna get there. I don't think it, but I don't really think I need to because I'm seeing the chords, seeing the chord shapes. I know where I know where the fives and the ones and the threes are, and I'm moving, between shapes, right? Now I'm up there. And then up here, remember we moved from the E. So anyway, but look at this though. So here's the D shape. Whoop, I hit that. Made it sound pretty heavy, right? Um, so that um, is some box. I think it's this one. Now, so that's one of the boxes. I think it might be position 2, box 2 of Major Pentatonic. So I do play some of it, as you can see, but I'm not playing. And it's kind of like if you're just playing these boxes, it's just a scale, It's not really necessarily musical unless you do something with it. And I'm sure there's some cool riffs inside of this box somewhere that I haven't discovered yet. But I just want to point out I am using a little bit of the box, of that box, right? So this is another box. I'm going to show you this. So this is, I think it's box 5 of Major Pentatonic. And so if you were just to play it real boxy like, you'd go, and that's the root, right? So you got to stop there, unlike minor pentatonic, which has the same, holding down the same, you know, positions. But anyway, major pentatonic. So, but when I look at this, I don't think about this box 5. I think about there's a G chord, a G-shaped D chord underneath all this, right? So it's kind of hard to do, but like, so there's that, this is the open G, right? You move all this up, right? And you, it's kind of a hard chord to hold down, but when you fret this, now I'm getting those 3 notes here fretted, and I'm playing this. So this is the G shape, kind of hard to hold down. So when I'm riffing around in here, I'm picturing this triad inside of this G shape. So in a way, I'm doing some boxes. Maybe I'm doing more boxes than I know. I'm sure this is another box, but I just don't really think about the boxes. They just kind of happen, I think, as navigating like this between chord shapes. Um, so I want to show you this. This is really cool. So here we are. Here we are with that D chord. Okay, if we add this from my pinky, I'm holding down, again, that's a 1 and a 5, right? That 1-5 pair, which actually comes out of this E shape. So I'm sitting here in this very comfortable position. And by the way, I find this the most useful out of all of the places to sit and riff, at least in D major. And what I want to show you is if I hold down my pinky here, and then that's very country, right? Or Southern rock, but probably both. And what we're doing there, so like I pointed out, 5-1 from the E shape, and then when we take this string, this is the 1, so that's a 2, and we bend it up a whole step, which is 2 frets. We're bending it up to the 3 out of this E shape. So it's even out of this box, we're bending up, grabbing a couple of notes from a different chord shape, and then we're bending this one up into a note from that chord shape. It's pretty cool. So here, we change our tonal center. Now our key is G. Okay, so we have the same principles, right? This is the E shape of a G chord. Like if D was up here, this is a G. So we have that 5-1. Then we have that triad to play around with. So that is the triad of a G chord, because basically with this triad, whatever the note on the second string is, that's the root of the chord. So here, E, F, G. So anyway, that 5-1, once you know these 5-1s, it doesn't matter what key you're in, what chord you're holding down. If we were in B, we would launch from here. Look, that's a B right there. You can translate this to all keys so easily. So there's that launching point for G. Now where do we have another G? Here's that A-shaped G. 5-1-3, right? So yeah, man, you can do it everywhere. Now let's switch back to D for a minute. I think it's probably my favorite major pentatonic key to jam in. I want to show you this. I'm adding this 4 here. So if we think of this as 5-1-3, this is a 4. You should know your major scale and know the intervals in a major scale, which are whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. So here's the 1, right, in D. 1, 2, 3. So we can go from here too. There's your 1. 1, 2, 3. Half step to 4. 4. Whole step to 5. Whole step to 6. Whole step to 7, and a half step to 1. There's the 1 from this chord shape. So it's real common, I think, to kind of play more melodically by adding a couple of major scale notes that are not in the pentatonic. And in fact, the only 2 out of the major scale that are not in the major pentatonic are the 7 and the 4. Okay, that's pretty cool. Let's just play this little backing track. I have another video where I played over this, and then I did a lesson on the different things I did there. But let's just see if we can get some context. So this is in D. What we can do with this, make it sound musical, but not too complicated. Okay, pretty cool, right? So I think that's enough. I hope you really enjoyed this. I hope you got something out of it, and I hope I didn't discourage you from the boxes. If you want to learn all those boxes, man, go for it. But I think this might be a better way to start out if you don't already if you have not already mastered the major pentatonic. So, cheers, good luck, keep playing, man.